Shifting our focus now to Israel and to a question. Has Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu become the problem instead of the solution? Now, this question has cropped up because of the many troubles that he is facing and the repercussions these troubles are having on Israel and the war that it's fighting. And the list of these troubles is quite long. His judicial reform has been junked, his approval ratings have been sinking, his allies are turning against him. Even his friends in the West are abandoning him. Take what happened recently. The U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken was in Tel Aviv, and the aim of the visit was to prevent the war from expanding further. He met Benjamin Netanyahu and held talks on a series of topics. He told him that his forces must avoid inflicting further harm on the civilians in Gaza. But what stood out during this visit was the fact that there was no joint statement issued. You see, in the last 3 months, every time Blinken has visited Israel, he has issued a joint statement with the Israeli Prime Minister. Not this time. Why? Are these signs that the U.S. is upset with Netanyahu? And what adds to the doubts are the kind of requests he made to Netanyahu during his visit. For instance, he asked him to make some hard choices and work with the Palestinians. And as speculation about what went down during this meeting grows, thousands of miles away in the UK, the country's foreign minister, David Cameron, has issued a statement. He has basically admitted that he is worried that Israel may have taken certain actions which might be in breach of international law. Was he referring to war crimes? We don't know, but observers say that he might have. Let me quote the statement he issued. Am I worried that Israel has taken action that might be in breach of international law because this particular premises has been bombed or whatever? Yes, of course, I am worried about that. The advice has been so far that they have the commitment, the capability and the compliance, but on lots of occasions, that is under question. Now, here's the thing. It's quite unusual for the British Foreign Minister to say this because the UK has reaffirmed its support for Israel multiple times. Yes, it has requested the IDF to act with restraint, but it has rarely accused Israel of violating international laws. Cameron's remarks indicate things might have changed. It seems the UK also is upset with Netanyahu's actions. And why just the UK? Back in Israel, the country's own officials have lost faith in Netanyahu, like Ephraim Halevi, the former chief of Israel's spy agency Mossad. He said that Benjamin Netanyahu should resign because, according to him, Netanyahu has failed to bring Hamas down and unite his country. He also said that Netanyahu may not be able to win the war. You think that's bad? Then just have a look at this poll, which was conducted just last month. It revealed that only 31% of the Israelis believe that Prime Minister Netanyahu is suitable for his position, 51% saying that Benny Gantz is more suitable for the job. More than half of the polled Israelis favored Gantz over Netanyahu. And it's not just him. That's not all. According to the survey, if the elections were held today, the Likud party would only win 17 seats in the 120-seat parliament. Gantz's National Unity Party, on the other hand, would bag over twice that number. It would win 39 seats, to be specific. In fact, the Likud party would not be able to win a majority, even with all its allies combined. According to the opinion poll, Likud Shas, United Torah Judaism, Otzma Yehudut and Religious Zionists together would only win 43 seats. It's a far cry from their current majority of 64 seats. And then we have Israel's Supreme Court. It struck down a controversial law which Netanyahu's coalition government had been pushing for months. The 2023 judicial reform, a set of 5 changes to Israel's judicial system and the balance of powers in the country. In a 12-15 verdict, the judges of the Supreme Court ruled for the first time that the court had the power to strike down basic laws. The court added that letting the law stand could harm Israel's democracy. What do all these developments tell you? That one after the other, things are turning against Netanyahu, which brings us back to the question we asked in the beginning. Has Netanyahu become the problem instead of the solution? Think about it. It's a war in the Red Sea. Maritime trade through this critical passage for world trade has been hit by a relentless series of Houthi attacks as Yemen's powerful rebel army seeks to avenge the continuous Israeli assault on Palestinians in Gaza. Their target is Western shipping. The US has mobilized heavily in the waters. Many countries, in fact, have rushed warships to the region. But the question is this strategy really working? On Tuesday, American and British forces in the Red Sea shot down 18 drones and 3 missiles fired by the Houthis. The latest and most ferocious attack came just a week after at least 12 countries under the leadership of the United States of America warned the Houthis of consequences if they do not immediately stop their attacks. Well, the Houthis were unimpressed. In fact, in defiance of these warnings, the Houthis carried out one of their largest attacks to date in the Red Sea. The US Central Command, CENTCOM, has said in a statement, Iranian-backed Houthis launched a complex attack of Iranian-designed one-way attack UAVs, anti-ship cruise missiles, and an anti-ship ballistic missile from Houthi-controlled areas of Yemen into the southern Red Sea. And in response, Americans and British missiles and jets minimized the damage, but could not negate it completely. The economic costs are escalating by the day as ship companies avoid the Red Sea shortcut and add 3,000 miles to their journey. This episode, by the way, marks the 26th time that the Houthis have attacked Red Sea ships. 26th. You see, the Iran-backed militants say that their strikes on commercial ships are in support of Palestinians in Gaza, where Israel is battling Hamas. But these Houthi attacks have unleashed a maritime meltdown in the Red Sea. At the time of the latest attack, there were about 50 merchant ships in the region. The maritime traffic in Bab el-Mandeb and the Gulf of Aden has been affected. Since the Israel-Hamas war broke out, multiple commercial ships have come under attack. One ship was even hijacked by the Houthis. And as a result of these attacks, major shipping companies diverted their routes away from the Suez Canal. In short, these attacks endanger a transit route that carries up to 12% of the global trade. The Houthis are part of the Axis of Resistance, a coalition of groups led by Iran, and are arrayed against Israel. Houthis say they are targeting Israel-linked ships, but multiple ships that have no connection to Israel have come under attack in the Red Sea. Now, America and a dozen countries are working in unison to keep the commerce flowing in the Red Sea. They call it Operation Prosperity Guardian. It is basically a multinational naval task force, and it includes warships from 20-plus countries committed to safeguarding the shipping lane. But the effort to defend ships is heavily dependent on American naval presence, and so far, Washington has been reluctant to attack Houthis in Yemen. But reports say that this position might be changing. US and allies have issued multiple warnings to the Houthis. Last week, in fact, the US warned Houthis to stop illegal attacks and release unlawfully detained vessels and crews. This statement did not mention Iran. According to American media outlets, the Pentagon is refining plans to hit the Houthis. It could include some sort of an assault on Houthi assets in Yemen. And this would send out a warning. But the thing is, an attack from America has the potential to further escalate tensions in the region. And a further escalation in this crisis is absolutely not something that the world can afford. As it is, traders are paying a high price for the Red Sea crisis. The Indian exporters, in particular, are bearing the brunt of this crisis. It's because private insurers are asking for special surcharge for ships. And early this month, the Global Trade Research Initiative, or the GTRI, warned in a report that India might have to look elsewhere for oil and gas. GTRI warned that India should explore alternative trade routes so that it is not dependent on the conflict-prone Red Sea passage. You see, the Red Sea crisis has led to a massive surge in shipping rates, and this in turn has prompted the exporters to hold back on the shipments. And as exporters hold back on shipments amid the rising fares, India could potentially see a drop in exports by around $30 billion. For India, the Red Sea is one of the most relied upon export routes. It's primary route for shipping to Europe, to West Asia, to Africa. According to reports, Indian exporters are withholding around 25% of their cargo ships sailing through the Red Sea. Now, the Indian government is in the process of holding talks with export commission councils to ensure a safe passage for export vessels. In response to the Houthi threat, India last week also sent a warship to the Arabian Sea. Here, a Liberian-flagged vessel was hijacked off the coast of Somalia. And thanks to the Indian Navy, the ship was successfully rescued. In order to combat the Houthi danger, India has sent as many as 10 frontline warships with marine commandos to the region. The Indian naval presence now stretches from the Arabian Sea to the Gulf of Aden. India is conducting this unprecedented maritime security operation independently. This operation includes regular intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance missions. Drones are providing live feeds of high-resolution imagery. The Indian warships that have been deployed include guided missile destroyers, the INS Kolkata, INS Kochi, INS Chennai, as well as multi-role frigates like INS Talwar and INS Tarkash are closely coordinating the enhanced surveillance. While the Indian Navy has refrained from joining the US-led operation, there is a continuous sharing of information, coordination between navies of all friendly foreign countries, including the US, the UK, and France. Our next story is disturbing to say the least. You would be appalled to find out what happened. It's a chilling story of the death of a 4-year-old. Who killed him? Let me warn you, you will be appalled to find out the answer. The 4-year-old was allegedly killed by his mother. Let that sink in. Why would any mother do that? Doesn't matter if you are a parent or not. Any human being would be appalled to hear this, even perhaps seething with anger. It baffles me how a mother could possibly do this to her own child. How can someone be so barbaric? Let me tell you what we know so far about the case. The mother of the 4-year-old was caught fleeing with her son's body stuffed in a bag, as per reports. Her name is Suchna Seth. What has she told the police? That she has no idea how the child had died and that she had found him dead. As per officials, the post-mortem has found that the child was smothered to death, either with a cloth or a pillow. The murder took place in a service apartment in North Goa. The staff found a blood-stained towel while cleaning the room and then informed the police. They also told the police that her son was not seen leaving with her and that she had left the hotel with a heavy bag. Let me just tell you a little bit about Suchna Seth. She is the Chief Executive Officer of an artificial intelligence startup company in Bengaluru. She is a research fellow from Raman Research Institute. She has also spent 2 years at the Berkman Klein Center for Internet and Society at Harvard University. What about her personal life? What do we know? She had filed a domestic violence case on the 8th of August 2022 against her husband. Her husband had denied the allegations in court. Goa police have now been given custody of Suchna Seth for 6 days. As per reports, the police believe that Seth allegedly killed her son to prevent her estranged husband from meeting him. Just how horrific is that? The police are reportedly not convinced by her explanations. Reports say Suchna Seth has claimed that the blood-stained towel was the result of menstrual bleeding. Empty bottles of cough syrup were also discovered in her room, and the police believe that she may have given the 4-year-old a heavy dose of the medicine and then allegedly smothered him. The boy was cremated in Bengaluru on Wednesday. His father performed the last rites. The case has left the entire country in shock. And as the investigation continues, more details are expected to emerge.